We didn't get the count. Oh, oops. It's live, ladies and gentlemen. There's always that little thing that you never know what's going to happen. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm thrilled that you guys are here today. As you guys know, if you've been following along this week, we've been focused on what we're calling Pinterest Palooza, sharing Pinterest knowledge, getting you guys excited about the opportunity that is Pinterest. I think a lot of people use Pinterest to dream, if you will, but to use it for your business. That's what we're talking about this week. And we have some amazing guests today. Those of you who've been with us this week, you know Jeff Sieh by now because he hosted the show totally by himself, and I'm so thankful for him yesterday. My birthday was on Monday, and my husband surprised me with not one child, but two childs. Is that a word?
Yeah,
two children,
children.
both my boys came, and we went to Disney for a couple of days, and it was lovely. So Jeff filled in for me yesterday. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about our people today, okay? You guys are going to love them. First up, we have Tina. Now, I'm trying to figure out which corner.
You're good. Right down. Yeah.
Tina's waving, so this is Tina, guys. She is the creative director at Simple Pin Media. She oversees the creative strategy on over 400 pin creations each month. So let's just say she's not slacking at 400 pin creations each month. She's also the founder of Socially Creative Designs, a template marketplace for agencies and savvy entrepreneurs. Hint, hint. I checked out some of her designs earlier. They are amazing. And then we have Julie with us as well. And Julie is the product designer at Tailwind. She helps make their visual marketing easy for small business owners. She's a former entrepreneur, so she gets us, and she's passionate about transforming the digital marketing pain points into solutions that help business owners grow, which that speaks to my heart for sure. She's currently enjoying breaking down barriers on content creation to make great design accessible to small businesses everywhere. So those of us who think we can't design great things, Julie is here to help us with that. So welcome. Put your hands together for our guest today.
So Kim, can I break in really, really quickly? Because I want to make sure, because Julie's here and I don't want to get in trouble. But today's show is brought to you by Tailwind. They are an official sponsor of the show. And Julie actually helps. We talked about this on our first show with Elisa, that they have a new beta rolling out called Tailwind Create, which lets you make pins right inside of the platform. They have all these great templates. Well, Julie has helped a lot with that project, and I was so excited that she agreed to come on the show with us. So make sure, if you want to get in on this beta program, and there's also a really cool webinar on how to make great pins and all that kind of stuff on this link as well. So go to kimgarst.com/Tailwind Create. That's kimgarst.com/Tailwind Create and sign up for that. And I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's going to change your Pinterest life. So go check it out.
So I just want to say something on the heels of that. Like, we had Elisa from Tailwind on Monday, and she said something about Tailwind Create that really resonated with me. So I'm going to, for those of you who weren't live with us on Monday or didn't listen to the show on Monday, she said that Tailwind Create is a great way to start from an almost done perspective. So who doesn't want that? Right? Who doesn't want to get started from a place of, all I have to do is make a few tweaks, and then I'm done.
Right.
So definitely check it out.
But also, because this is a party, like it's Palooza, which I think is like Latin for party. I just made that up. But we want to give away some prizes. So we are first giving away, our first prize is going to be a $15 Amazon gift card. So if you want to be entered for the drawing to win one of this is how you actually do it. So we're going to ask a question, and to answer the question, you need to put a hashtag pin it to win it, and then your answer. That's the way we can actually go through all the comments and pull those out. So if you want to be entered for the drawing of the $15 Amazon gift card, this is the question you need to answer, because inquiring minds want to know. So the first one is this: do you buy things on Pinterest? If so, what was the last thing you purchased? And extra points if it's something really, really strange. So do you buy things on Pinterest? If so, what was the last thing you purchased? Make sure that you put the hashtag pin it to win it, and then your answer to be entered for the drawing for the Amazon gift card.
Okay, so Jeff, what was the last thing that you purchased from Pinterest?
Oh, for me, gosh, what was the last thing? It was probably, was it? I think it was food, actually, because there was like meat of the month club or something like that. And I
Oh
got
yeah.
that. Yeah, it was Butcher Box. I think it was Butcher Box. I do that, so it's
I bought,
amazing.
I think, a snarky T-shirt. I don't remember. I bought several, so I'm not sure exactly what the last one was. But I like snarky T-shirts.
Right.
I'm a very I'm not a dress-up person. I dress for success from the waist up all the time. So T-shirts and yoga pants are it for me.
So Dina says, pin it to win it. Pin goodies I love for crafting. Let's see, handbag from Carol
There you
Ann.
go.
So we've got some great ones.
Oh,
So this is cool. Mel goes, I don't buy anything, but I did get a tattoo done from an image she saw on Pinterest.
that's cool.
That is really cool.
That's
So
that's the most unusual thing I've ever heard. So
yeah. So very, very cool. So let's get started with some questions about Pinterest design. This is going to be a good one.
it's going to be fun. So before we jump into questions, I just wanted to remind everybody that we have a grand prize for the whole shebang. Our Pinterest Palooza week, we have a grand prize that we're giving away on Friday. And if you guys want to enter to win it, then make sure you go register at this link. Let's see, it's this one, I do believe, right? There we go. kimgross.com/Pinterest. We're giving away stuff live on the shows, but the big prize, which is a year of Tailwind Pro, will be given away. We'll be selecting from people who register. Okay, it's going to be a random thing, but if you're interested in that, make sure you go do the live thing.
Yeah.
Enter to to win the live.
Enter to win, yeah. So because Tailwind, that's an awesome
That's
tool.
an
It's
amazing
amazing.
tool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
All right. So first question for Tina. We'll go with you first. All right. So Kim, what so we talked about, before on the show, we've talked about, kind of the strategy was yesterday with Peg, kind of an overriding thing. And then, Lisa, we had on the first day. But Tina, I want to ask you first, and then we'll go right to Julie afterwards. So what is the biggest mistake that you see people when they first start creating designs on Pinterest? And I know there's a lot, but just narrow it down, and give us what is the biggest one that you see that they do when they first start making designs on Pinterest?
Hey, I just have to tell you first, my pin it to win it was I bought the What the Stink promoted pin thing, and I put it in my garbage disposal, and it worked.
Really?
It really caught my attention. It was in there, and it was like, what the stink? And I'm like, what stink? What is that? And I went right ahead and bought them. I bought 12 little packs of them, and they work great. So there you go.
So I have to ask the question, was it a video pin?
Or it was not a video pin.
Okay, but that would make a really good video pin.
But talk about good caption. I mean, what the stink, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
amazing.
Sorry. I just had to share that.
No, that's a good one.
I feel like, Jeff, it's similar to what we talked about a couple of weeks ago on the Tailwind Live. I feel like the biggest mistake that I see time and time again when people come to us in consults and say, hey, just evaluate these images, is that people are really not always thinking to create with mobile in mind, right? Like we know that it's well over 80% for most people of their traffic's coming from mobile. And yet we're creating on these screens like the one behind me where pins are rendering at 3-5 times the size. And then we're uploading them to Pinterest and we're never checking. Like we're never seeing, can we actually read the fonts? Are all the elements there? The background photos that we're using are they pixelated? We're not in a space to be able to check that. And so we just send them off, and then people are searching on mobile, and then they can't, we're not optimizing in a way that helps them click. So I think that's the biggest mistake that I see people make.
Yeah, that's a great thing. Yeah, the not knowing that so much traffic coming from Pinterest. And we're going to talk about this inside. We've been pushing all week that we're talking about. We're doing a video pin challenge next week. So it's like 2 weeks of Pinterest, folks. It's amazing. So we're going to talk about that because a lot of times when people don't realize when they do like a video pin or even especially a video promoted pin that it goes right to the website. And if your website's not optimized for mobile either, then you're in trouble. If you have a lot of pop-up things they're a pain in the rear on mobile, I'm telling you. So if you have to click a lot of those off, then that's not really optimized for Pinterest. So you got to think about that mobile user in mind. So I think that's great. Julie, what about you? What do you see that people like the biggest design mistake they make on Pinterest?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I see is people just forgetting to put text on those pin images. Although a picture can be worth 1,000 words, if you don't really know what you're going to see when you click through that image, you're really missing a big opportunity, because maybe you're seeing this gorgeous photo and it's someone wearing an entire outfit. If you click through, you're not really sure if this is going to be a blog post, or is it a place where you can purchase that cute sweater, or for the boots. So really taking advantage of putting text on there, making sure that text is large and readable, so that it is something people can see on mobile. But yeah, I'd say text is probably one of the biggest things. It's a great opportunity to make sure that everyone knows where they'll be going when they click on those pins.
Ooh, that's a good one. And you know me, you know, and and Kim and I've talked about this before too. And Tina knows, she's always ribbing me about it. But how my hatred of scripty fonts on Pinterest, because they're okay if they're done right, but if it's too scriptily up there, you can't read it on those little, small little mobile phones. And so you've got to make sure your text overlays are clear. I know Tina's always giving me a hard time about that, but
I really love that tip. Max decided he wanted to come to Pinterest Palooza. So one of the things I've frequently said when it's driving blog traffic in particular is when you pin a random image to Pinterest and you're trying to drive traffic back to your blog, people have no frame of reference for what that is. You know, if it's 5 yoga tips, for example, and you know it's a running stream of water is your photo, nobody's going to click on that more than likely to come back to your blog. So I really, really love that. That's a huge problem, I think.
I think a great way, just a tip for everybody who's listening, that if you want to check this, right, a lot of times in consults, what I'll do is I'll have the client pull out their phone and look at their pins, and then come back to me and say, hey, can you read those things? Or is the point clear when it's on mobile? So I like to upload mine to a secret board ahead of time. And then that allows me to check whether it's for personal work or for client work. It helps me to look at those templates, look at those designs, make sure everything's good. And then they get to go live on Pinterest after that.
Another great strategy. Sometimes we just don't take the time to look at our own stuff in the context of how other people might see it. And that's really important. So great point. Okay, so our first winner. I love winners. Michelle Price won the $15 Amazon gift card. Woohoo! Congrats, Michelle.
Yeah. So what you need to do is you need to go to, this is for all our prize winners. So if you go to kimgarst.com/Pinterest winner, enter your deets in there, and we will get that $15 gift card to you. But that's where you need to go for claiming your prize. So very, very cool. We've got 3 more. So stick around. But, you know, we kind of teased a little bit that we're doing this video pin challenge next week, where we're going to be training in the morning and we're going to be like reviewing in the afternoon, and everybody loves those reviews. So it's going to be, we are diving deep into video pins next week. So we really want you guys to go register for this challenge, and you can go register for it at pintoprofitchallenge.com. So pintoprofitchallenge.com. Go there. We're going to be diving deep into a tool that makes you lets you make video pins really, really easy. So you want to make sure you sign up for this, because Kim and I are putting our heads together, and it's going to be a really good intensive 5-day training on video pins. And video pins are super cool and new on Pinterest. So you want to get in on the ground floor.
Yeah, I just want to let y'all know, it's not just, hey, we're going to teach you how. You're going to be doing it. We're going to be doing it with you, and you're going to have us at your kind of like pick our brain kind of thing of the afternoon to see if your pin is, you know, going to convert for you. You know, we'll give you our ideas and our thoughts, and it's going to be an invaluable week. So don't miss out on it. Make sure you go register. Pin to Profit Challenge. It's free, totally free. So go. Pop in your name and your email address, and we'll get you in the group, and we're going to deliver the goodies. You don't want to miss out on it.
All right. Next question for our designers. Do you have a good one that I know you've been wanting to ask?
I do. So, and I don't, either one of you, whichever, whichever, and maybe we'll just, whoever started last could go first this time or whatever. Are there certain things that we can do when we're designing our content for Pinterest that are going to make them more clickable? Are there, like, you know, certain things that everybody should be doing that potentially they're not doing?
Yeah, so I think for me, part of it is spending time on intentional pin copy. I think I know that's not so much like design per se, but it is a big component of the pin itself, right? And I think sometimes we spend so much time overthinking the design and complicating that and getting obsessed with that we just take the same title that we have on a blog post and throw it on there and send it to Pinterest. And while that's not bad, SEO on Pinterest and SEO on Google are two totally different things. And when we think about in marketing, pinners are really kind of in the awareness stage of the buyer's journey. So sometimes the titles that we have in our blog post aren't really intentional in helping them move through that process. So I think if we can spend as much time on pin copy, really thinking about the audience that we're writing to, offering up a solution on the other side of that click, kind of teasing that, I think that's good. And the other thing is just we have so many analytics to support within Simple Pin that the simple act of including a CTA on the pin makes a huge difference. I know we'll talk about that later, but don't underestimate the power of a CTA or a call to action on an actual pin design.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I love that you said that, because I have always found, and I constantly tell people this, but in the context of Pinterest, I think this is interesting. People need to be told what to do. I mean, it seems weird that they wouldn't know, but I think a lot of times we, and I've been guilty of this too, omitting to do that on my Pinterest images. So so if y'all didn't catch that, I think that's a really, really amazing tip to make sure you do put some sort of a call to action, like click here, or whatever you want them to do, so that they'll go and check it out.
So I've got a follow-up question from Paul that I want to bring up in a bit. But Julie, I want you to have you answer that question. What do you think to make images more clickable? What are some tips you have?
Absolutely. So call to action was actually one of the number one things I was going to mention as well. It is incredibly important, kind of cueing users in, giving them that action word of what they should be doing with that call to action. Something else you can do, though, to really make those images clickable is to make sure that those images, that the photos that you're using, are really free of clutter. You want to make sure that the user's eyes are going straight to that focal point, whether that's your product or the part of the image that's really conveying what your blog post is about. And that will really help users know, okay, this is exactly what I will be seeing when I click here, combined with that call to action. Your viewers, as they're scrolling through Pinterest, they'll see it and they'll know exactly what they're supposed to do.
That's awesome. So can you help? Paul has this great question. He goes, when you make a pin, where or how do you add a call to action? Mm-hmm. So what would you tell Paul, Julie? Where would be the best place? I know it depends a little bit, but kind of give him some best practices on that.
Absolutely. So for this one, you know what? This might be a good point to actually show some examples I brought today.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Pull your screen up. Let's do this.
All right, Here we go.
Here we go. So Larabar actually does this incredibly well with their CTAs. So if you see, they've got their kind of title across these 3 different pin designs, but then they have their call to action, which for them is shop now. So for their brand, they've chosen to do it kind of as the lowest text on the page. The nice thing about that is because we read from top to bottom, that's going to be the last thing your viewers are seeing. So that's kind of the last thing in their mind is, oh, hey, I should click to shop now. So one of the cool things you can do with CTAs is you could put maybe a shape behind it that's a color so that users' eyes are drawn right towards that CTA. That's a fun thing you can do. You can also try putting it at the top or tying it into the overall title itself. So instead of having the shop now at the bottom, they could maybe just say shop now for gluten-free goodness. So you can kind of tie it in there more naturally too.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Would you recommend testing where you put your call to actions just to see which one actually converts higher?
Absolutely. That's a really great point, because all of us are kind of targeting towards different audiences. So there are different things that will work better for some industries than others. So you can take that and maybe try putting it at the bottom as a footer there, as you see on the right. You could try putting it at the top. And by creating that kind of like A/B testing, you can actually see what works best for you to get those click-throughs.
Awesome.
Love that.
Tina, I've got some follow-up questions I want to ask you, but I want to bring up this from Mel. She goes, simple but effective. Never thought to add CTAs to a pin. Yes, that's very, very important. So I'm glad, Mel, you're watching. So you also want to go to that video pin challenge we're doing next week, because we're going to do some really cool stuff there too. But Jeannie says this: is there a specific font size that works better than others? Do we need to use board covers that show the board name since it's already in the header? So Tina, can you answer that question for Jeannie? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think that there's a specific font size, because I think it's going to depend on the font, right? Like you, Jeff, like you were saying, not to hit script fonts again, but if you're using a script font for some subtext, you're probably going to want that a little bigger because it's going to be tough to read. So it really depends. You know, some are more bold in nature. I wish there was a number I could give you, but I would say the number is whatever your font is, that it's readable on mobile. Honestly, it depends on the design. It's going to change all the time. As far as board covers, I don't know. We didn't talk about this in the agenda, so I hope I'm not going to create waves here, but I am not a huge board cover fan as far as graphics. So I don't find them necessary. I know I see I mean, I think they can work. I don't know if they're worth the effort, and they've changed sizes so many times. And it's just, man, in that amount of time, I could be creating so many pin images that could drive traffic to my site rather than just prettying up my profile. So if I only have so much time, I'd rather be spending that on pins.
Yes, I don't think it's worth your return on investment. But here's Deanna asked this: what's a few readable fonts to use? And I'll tell you where I go is Canva has a design school where they have like fonts that work well together. And you guys, right? You want to put as many fonts as you can on a pin, correct?
Okay, I was like, what's he saying? And then I realized,
no, you don't want to have that.
Just like in there.
Yeah. No, you want to keep it to, how many fonts would you keep it to? Like the max amount of fonts you would have on a pin, Julie?
I mean, typically in design, the rule of thumb is 3. I would say for a pin, you're dealing with a much smaller size. So I personally would usually go for no more than 2, just to keep it really nice and clean.
What about you, Tina? What would you say to that?
Absolutely agree. And sometimes I'll even just use one, but just adjust the weight of the font on one of them to add a little, to punch those keywords. But I think it's okay to even use one.
Yeah. And when she's talking about weights of the fonts, that's like bold or italic or, you know, different when you have those fonts that you can pick it inside that same font family. So I just want to clarify that.
Or even had some sort of a design element behind a, maybe a word to give it a little pop, you know, keeping your font the same. But if you want to like really highlight a specific word, maybe put like a little, you know, square or something behind that specific word. It's a design element that'll give it a little lift. So that's another idea too. All right.
Yeah. So before we go into more questions, and you guys, of course, are doing awesome, because I mean, this is stuff that is so cool. All this design stuff. I mean, we could dive into this for a whole week on this. But I want to ask. We're going to do another prize. So get your pin it to win it hashtag ready. So this is the question, and we are going. What is the prize for this one, Kim?
Let's see. What do we give away next? Let's give away the mug.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So throw that picture up first, because
yeah, hang on. I'm going to pull
really
it
cool
up
mug that
I think everybody's going to want one of these. Pinterest takes me to my happy place. So if y'all would like a mug, get your fingers a moving.
Right. So
whichever.
Pin it to win it. So this is the question. Let's see here. Okay. What is the craziest image you've seen on Pinterest? So what is the craziest image that you've seen on Pinterest? Put hashtag pin it to win it, your answer, and you will be entered to win that awesome, cool mug. So, yeah. So what is the weirdest image we had? I thought it was interesting. Somebody had a tattoo that they found from Pinterest. That's really kind of cool.
That is definitely on the top of my, like, I'll remember that one for sure. Trying to think of things that I have. What's the most strangest,
craziest image?
Craziest thing. Some of the Pinterest fails are pretty crazy.
Yeah, Pinterest fails are some of my top fun ones to watch. What about you, Joe? Do you have any what's the weirdest thing you've seen? Because I know you've dove in deep to a lot of these when you're searching for templates and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely have. I'm trying to think through like, there's like all kinds of categories here. I think some of the ones I really enjoyed though are probably in the realm of like travel and exploration. You can get some really interesting photos with people kind of like hanging off the edge of a cliff, and really daring photos and things like that, or some really cool like underwater footage of people swimming with sharks. So I think those are some of my favorites.
Oh, wow. What about you, Tina? What's some of the weird ones you've seen?
Yeah, one that takes the cake is that there was this pin that said, "I like big butts and I cannot lie," and it was 6 moves to increase the size of your rump, and then it had all these images of butts.
Okay, I'm on the other end of that spectrum. I'm like trying to decrease my rump, not the other way. But I know there are people that want rump.
But you know what's crazy? It's like a reality show. It's like, oh, I mean, like, what's there? Like, I don't know. It's like it does stop you in the scroll. I mean, not for a good reason, but it's attention getting.
So
COVID has not been kind to my bottom. Let's just put it that way.
our friend Paul, who is almost at all of our live shows, so he is. We really appreciate Paul. He goes, "Old man in a Speedo," which is something you can't unsee. Jenny says dog drinking beer. We've got some great ones. The Mel says the cakes are hilarious. The Pinterest fails. Psychedelic bathroom design, and I have not seen this. I've seen it on Instagram. Pimple popping.
It is so big on TikTok. It is like a crazy thing on TikTok.
And Michelle says,
I'm like, why am I watching this? It's like
I just can't. Sorry. Craziest probably Halloween gross makeup special effects. Yeah, you're probably going to see a lot more of those coming up on it's Halloween season over on Pinterest. So
this one's cool. Check this one out. Lisa says crazy hairdos of castles, food, etc. That's kind of interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that. Is that like the old beehive?
I don't know. I've seen beard things that do that, where there's a guy has like he had a bird nest in his beard, and he had like a soup bowl where he was eating ramen out of, and so that's weird.
I think we could do some fun things. So my husband has a beard, not quite as long as Jeff's, but I've been wanting to I think we could do red, white, and blue, or some cool.
Everybody sends me those every year when that goes around.
He's not buying it yet, so.
Yeah. So we kind of touched about this, but I think I loved showing examples. So Tina, we pulled up Julie's screen, but can you think of some brands that you think have awesome designs on Pinterest and kind of walk us through kind of why you like those?
Absolutely. So I feel like I follow a mix of content creators and brands because I like to see how they're doing it on both sides, right? Not to totally fangirl on Peg Fitzpatrick, but I have been crushing on her since forever. I'll try not to embarrass myself there, but Peg's been creating great stuff for a long time. Sugar and Cloth is a lifestyle blogger. They're not using a ton of templates, but they really fit their brand. Like their branding is spot on. I put this in here before I knew that Julie was the other guest, but I love what Tailwind is doing, honestly. There's a plug there. No, really, I mean, this minimalist style, color forward, great use of white space. My eye is always drawn right where I need to go. And something else that I do regularly as well, everybody else is on Pinterest searching for recipes and fall nail styles and things. Not that I don't do those things. I'm actually scrolling, looking at designs all the time, and I save it to a secret board that I call Visual Inspo. Mm-hmm. And I will specifically try to hone in on promoted pins because I often think, if these big brands have probably a design team to work with, they're probably working with a Pinterest rep if they've got a larger budget, and they're choosing to put money behind this image, I'd like to think it's for a reason. And so I'll save those and try to think about ways, not that we would ever copy designs, but, pulling elements from that later on to create in something that I do for a client.
Very cool. Yeah. So Julie, what about you? What are some of your favorite brands? I know you showed the bars beforehand that you're a fan of, but what are some other ones?
Absolutely. I actually pulled together a couple pins to show examples.
Okay, I'll add you back to screen. There you go.
Fantastic. So I've got to say, I also follow kind of a mix of large brands as well as smaller creators because I think it's really exciting to see new ideas coming up from smaller creators while also seeing what some of these big budget teams put together. So something I think is really interesting about Target is that their designs are relatively simple. And so it's something that is accessible, but I think there's so much we can learn here because they have a simple underlay behind some text, and the text is nice, bold, and clear. Across all their designs, you can always see what the text is, and you know exactly what you're going to find there. They keep their copy really concise. So if you notice, each of these only has 3 words. I think that's a great example of how they make it nice and scannable, and they also keep their images really branded with that nice Target logo in the bottom corner. So I think that's kind of a good example of something that's maybe not quite as complex as perhaps maybe the Lara Bar designs were. Another one I really love from a creator is Ella Claire & Co. And I think she does a great job showing how you can create a cohesive look for kind of a smaller brand, but it's also incredibly readable here. So she may not be using really bold text, but it's still readable, it's really concise, and it maintains consistency. So you even start to kind of recognize her pins in your feed when they come up.
Very cool. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Target too. They're one of my favorites for the same reason that you just said. I feel like they don't overcomplicate text. It's going to rank well within visual search. The algorithm can read it, right? And we know exactly what we're getting on the other side of it. So bounce rate would be low, conversion would be high. And I like that they keep their branding. I love that Julie called attention to that too. Like logo's always in the same spot. Like they're just smart about how they do things.
And one of the things that I picked up on that is one, anybody could do that because it's not super complicated. It's, in Target's, the Target example, they have a little logo in the corner and they have a very basic box with 3 words on it. Anybody can do that. The magic is making sure that the image represents what it is that you're trying to drive traffic to. Pinterest is a visual platform. So, the design elements there are not, like I say, anybody can do that. It's more about making sure that your image is great, which leads me to a great question. Where do you get design inspiration? Like if you don't have your own, like you're not a photographer, you're not taking your own pictures, like where do you find some great design inspiration?
Tina, why did you head? Oh, go, Julie, you go first. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. So for me, I actually go to Pinterest. Something that I find really helpful is I'll go to Pinterest on my phone so that I am seeing the designs pretty small. And I'll scroll much faster than I would if I was just having a good time on Pinterest like usual. And what I'm trying to do is see if I'm not really focusing what designs really stand out and capture my eye. Once something does and it grabs my attention, then I really stop, tap on it, and I really kind of study, okay, what was it that caught my eye? Was it the way that they used color? Was it the text? Or was it actually something about the photo? And I really kind of start to break down that design to kind of start bookmarking some ideas of ways that I could use some similar principles. Again, not copying the design, but maybe I see that they've used really bold, heavy text. And so I see how maybe I can use my own bold, heavy text fonts on my designs and things like that.
Yeah. So Tina, that's one of the, I know a lot of new people getting started on Pinterest really struggle with this, like images, where should I go? Should I use, a lot of people love to use Unsplash and, those free stock photography websites. When people ask you like, okay, I don't know, I'm not a photographer. What do I do? How do I do it? What are some like tips that you give them for, getting good images on Pinterest?
Is that for me, Jeff? Yeah.
Yeah, that was you. Sorry.
Okay,
yeah.
So I think that's a good question because like you said, not everybody, if we can use custom photography, we should, because it sets us apart. That's smart, gives us more creative freedom. What I will say is that not that there's anything wrong with Unsplash or the free Canva photos, or there's other places, right? Pexels has them, but it's this idea that we want to make sure that the image still appears fresh, even the background photo, because the Pinterest algorithm, visual search is reading that too. So I think, Jeff, you had called or made a really good point in the discussion we had with Elisa a little bit ago, that sometimes it's smart to go to some of these more boutique type styles when it comes to stock photography, because we're less likely to find that same image that's being used again and again and again within the industry. And so I think that's smart. The other thing is that I always design around the photo that I have to work with. So I start there. I don't try to make it fit. So there's a lot of time that's spent, like when clients come to us for me to create for them. At Simple Pin, we have them fill out a branding form. I go and study the pins that they're already creating if they are, or I spend time on their website. And I really try to pull that same feeling that people have when they see their brand into the photo that I'm using for the background image.
That's a great point. And not trying to shove something in for a design. But by the way, speaking of a really cool design, we have a winner for that Pinterest Takes Me to My Happy Place mug. It is Cynthia Smith is the winner. So congratulations, Cynthia. That is a really cool mug. I know a lot of people will want that. Kim came up with that. So give some props to Kim.
Yeah, I actually found the idea somewhere. I think on Pinterest, actually, because I was looking for some ideas to do some mugs as giveaways. And then I just articulated my vision for it to the team, and I can't take credit because the team actually made it beautiful. And now we have made it into a mug. It looks incredible. Whoever got it, you're going to love it. And if you are the winner, just go over to kimburst.com/Pinterest winner, pop in your details, and we'll get it out to you guys.
And let's go ahead and do another one. Shouldn't we? Let's do another one. This is for this. This is for the selfie light that you actually click on. I don't even have my phone here. I don't even know where it's at.
Your phone?
I don't know where it is. But so it clicks right on top of it, and it illuminates you beautifully, so you can take all those great selfies. These are really, really cool. The batteries last forever. So we are going to give away one of those. Same thing. Answer the question. You first put the hashtag pin it to win it, and then your answer, and you will be entered to win a very cool selfie light. And that question is this: if you're not using Pinterest for marketing, what hobbies do you use it for? So if you're not using Pinterest for marketing, what hobbies do you use it for? Remember to put the hashtag pin it to win it, then your answer, and you could be entered to win this awesome selfie light. So how cool is that? So what would hobbies? So I am very eclectic on my Pinterest. Since it's a personal brand and it's the mainly Pinterest tip stuff, and so I do a lot of wood carving and stuff like that. So you'll see that a lot on my boards. So how about you, Julie?
Yeah, Julie, how about it? What's yours?
Yeah, so for me, I really enjoy looking through and perusing different like houseplant care things, or it's a great place to check if I'm like, okay, why is this leaf turning yellow or something? Get going, get some tips, and kind of get my houseplants back on the right track.
Yeah. Kim, what about you? What are some of the
things?
She
just gave me a great idea. So my friend Shalene, I love her, but she sends me, and this is going to sound like I'm complaining. I'm not. But she sends me orchids, and I'm like, I love them. They're gorgeous, but I kill them every time. I can't keep them alive. And my mom was always a big orchid lover, and she always had them, but she's not here to tell me how to do it anymore. I can't figure it. So I have not managed to figure out how to keep my orchids alive. So now, thank you, Julie. I'm going to go. I never thought to check Pinterest to figure out how I can keep my my orchids alive, but now that's gonna be my thing. But as far as hobbies go, I don't really think I use it for hobbies. Like I just something that's kind of unusual maybe is we've done like research for brand boards, like for Photoshops and stuff. And maybe, I mean, that's not a photo shoots, not Photoshops, photo shoots. So like if you are going to do a photo shoot, for example, and you are looking for, like, you want to take it to your photo shoot and say, this is kind of what I'm looking for. Like if you're doing lifestyle photos, for example, use Pinterest, because there's like a plethora, that word that doesn't come off my tongue. There's all kinds of wonderful ideas there. So I think we've used it, in that context, but for hobbies, not so much.
I'm just saying, many people, you may not know this about Kim Garst, but she is a hockey fan. We just had this Stanley Cup. But the National Hockey League is
won. I'm just saying that real quick.
But the National Hockey League is on Pinterest. They were one of the first big sports teams that were on there. So you can check those out. So Tina, what about you? I mean, I know you do a lot of design stuff and are on Pinterest more than probably a lot of other people. But what is your hobby that you check out on Pinterest?
Well, my new hobby is watching Elisa's TikTok videos.
That's right. Yeah.
Anybody who doesn't know, go back and watch.
Right.
No, I think that, more than a hobby, my favorite thing to use Pinterest for are just the common recipes. I'm on there all the time. I don't even have a physical recipe book in the house anymore. It's my iPad. When I'm cooking, I go to Pinterest and I have my recipe book. And also anytime we do a project to the house, there are boards for that. Secret boards usually, so that I can keep my brand separate to some degree. But I'm over there pinning subway tile and different looks. And then literally, it's so smart because it does talk about pinners will save and then 3 or 6 months later go and convert on that. And it's so true. I'll save stuff and then I go in the store and I buy it, which shows that sometimes even if there's not a click to show that conversion, it can still impact buying power down the road.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of people who are saying, the same thing with recipes on here. A lot of people are using it. Somebody was saying, I'm trying to find it. It was funny that they were, So using it for recipes all the time. Don't cook very often. So that's what I think is cooking as the hobby. A lot of people, like Irene says, photos of nature. So the pin it to win it for what do you pin if you don't pin marketing stuff is still open. So keep those pin it to win it's coming. So visual artists around the world. That's very, very cool, Robin. And Robin also recipes and gardening. A lot of people do that. So very, very cool. So a lot of eclectic things you can find on Pinterest. But I want to kind of call an audible and go back because we're having a lot of people ask these questions when we've got a lot of brand new Pinterest users watching this. And the call to action thing kind of was hanging some people up. So Tina, I know you have some examples of like call to actions you would like to share that we talked about, or text on image, like
text overlay. Yeah.
Text overlay. What is it? A lot of people are asking like call to action, text overlays. How can we use that? Can you share your screen? Because I want to make sure we give some more examples of what actually works and what you really like. So we're going to pull up Tina's screen and she's going to share that with us and kind of walk us through this, Tina, and tell us, why this is a good text overlay, I guess.
Yeah, so I think it's just showing that where you place text on image, again, it's really working with what you have. What I love so much about this image here is that I feel like we're letting the custom photography tell the story. So by showing the woman here, this is like one of those portable surfaces that food bloggers love, right? Because you can see down here, you can see the actual product being used. You can see, and people, for me, that it's so important to take pinners on a journey of what this solution looks like for them. And I feel like in this case, we were able to do that because they're seeing the product, but then they're saying, oh, wow, look what happens when I use that product. And I think by letting the photos really tell the story, we're able to keep text to a minimum, like Julie highlighted on those target photos, by just giving the keywords to be able to rank for, and then a simple CTA there of the shop now.
Yeah. And we keep that pin up for just a second because I want to talk about it because we had talked about this before. And I think this pin would make an awesome video pin because, you could move that main photo down there to where, the little other image is, the smaller image, and have that main photo be a video pin. And so I think this kind of layout would be an awesome video pin. And we're going to be talking all about this at Pin to Profit Challenge. So make sure that you guys go and sign up because we're going to be showing examples like this and how to make video pins that are eye-catching and all sorts of cool stuff. But I just love this design that you picked, Tina, and I want to make sure we call that out so people, can really, like, you can look at some great designs on, static pins, but think about how you can make them animated a little bit. So we're going to be talking all about that. So anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I'm sorry, I'm bumping into. I noticed something, I've noticed it on a couple of the examples you guys have used, and I don't know if anybody else has caught it, but I've noticed in the use of lowercase across the board versus, capitalizing those first, we're capitalizing like portable and surfaces and pro and level and photos, or just the first word. So a lot of lowercase examples, is that like a new thing or is that a trend? What's your thoughts? Is it something we should all be doing? I'm just curious about it.
I think I don't want to speak for Julie too, but I feel like for me, it depends on the style of who I'm creating for. I think if they have a modern minimal feel, then it's really trendy to be able to shift those, like, down in the cement surface, that's in all caps. So we're mixing the two. So I think that's just a design tactic that we can use, but I would use it intentionally depending on the branding that the client has. I'm trying to think of another example, but if somebody's more like a TPT, or there are some people that it doesn't feel to me like it would fit their brand to do that. So I wouldn't do it. But in this case, it felt like a good fit for the brand.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
So do you have some more examples you want to?
So let's just pop through a few. I just wanted to mention this is something that I think we showed before too, just to creatively for people to start to think about the power of a testimonial. I know that's not where we're going like with this, but just to give people ideas. In this case, this brand is already so established on Pinterest that we don't really need to let people know who we are. We get to just now slide in and show them the solutions. So I love that we're able to, we actually took, we can see pages from the Google Analytics side where people were spending time. And so we took the testimonials on those pages and put them over here. And then you see the shop now, and that's in a scripty font, but Jeff okayed this a couple weeks ago because it's on brand, but it's not important for it to be in a scripty font. So
yeah, still don't like it, but okay.
I know it's okay that you don't like it.
Yeah,
Kim, you mentioned this earlier. I'm a big fan of putting like a color text block behind to like punch a word. And in this case, we're really trying to focus for their brand on the fact that it's going to make people's lives easier. So even though food photography is really the keyword, in this case, we saw higher conversions when we started to highlight the solution to the person. So that was intentional. A couple other things I thought I would show really quickly is that color palettes are really huge on Pinterest. Probably people have noticed that. This is a really fun way that we've started to do this for a few interior designers that we've had, where we can mix the color palettes, but with a lifestyle photo, so that we're not, back to what Julie was saying about the importance of text on image. There's a ton of color palettes floating around on Pinterest, but they're not always able to rank within search. And so by coming up with a template that kind of melded all of those things, we can tick all those boxes.
So I want to point, you mentioned TPT, or somebody asked what a TPT is, and that's teachers pay teachers. So they're really big on Pinterest with the educational space. So just wanted to clarify that.
And I want to just highlight real quick, because I think we had another question. Let me see where it was. It was about basically the concept of taking people on a journey, and you know, like the example you just gave of the color palettes, for example. I think people need to visualize stuff. You know, that's the thing. You got to remember that Pinterest is a visual platform. So we've all probably looked for color palettes over the years that we've been an entrepreneur, and Pinterest is awesome for that. But what I love about this image is that I can visualize that now in context with something that's real, not like, you know, oh, those are colors, but like how are they going to show up in something? It's like, you know, when you go shopping for clothes, the people are all dressed up. You can visualize it because you can see it. You know, you can see it on somebody. You don't have to mix and match it, versus just the ring of clothes. Like, okay, how am I going to pull this shirt out? Is it going to match those pants over there? So I love this concept. So I just wanted to highlight that and think about it in the context of how can you visualize your product or service. And it doesn't have to be a physical product, guys. Your digital, you can visualize your digital stuff. It's not like, you know, it's just a physical, like, hey, here's my phone, you know, I got to be able to showcase this. It can be a digital product. You just got to get creative with it.
Right.
Yeah, good call out for that too, Kim. I love that too. I feel like the best pins tell a story, honestly. It's storytelling visually but like a good example too is even for digital products, like a lot of TPT viewers will come to us and they have digital products, but can we show them being used by the kids in the classroom, right? As opposed to just a stock photo. I think that then there's like this psychological element that comes into seeing it in real world action. And I think that's important, very important.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'll just flip to two more things really quick. Just to show you. So here's one example, but let's just talk about A/B testing. Like this was the exact same landing page. We removed the color palette. We're still using the same background image. Very small amount of tweaks here, but we added a CTA in to see the look to help people. So still, Kim, what you were just saying, maybe now they want to go and visualize that color palette. They're going to click to go see it. We're going to help them along with that.
I would love to know the outcome of that one. Right? I'd like to fast. You know, I'm always about, like, you know, sometimes you think you know, but the reality of it is until you put it out in front of your people, to enough people, that you'll start to get a very clear winner. Usually one is always going to outperform the other. So that is clever. I love that.
testing is so important. And then one last thing, just because in the Tailwind that we had a few weeks ago, if you guys haven't watched that, you should go back and watch it because we covered a lot of great stuff there too. But one of the questions was, how much text should I put on an image? And my comment was, it's really going to depend. I feel like this is a text heavy image. But the problem is, if we hadn't provided this context to, we talked about pinners are really in the awareness stage. So if I had just put the trademark order a jungle delivered to your doorstep, they don't know what that means. But by adding the text here, new to gardening, pet friendly, shop, low light, we're giving context so that it's easier for the pinner to know what they're expecting and give them a reason to click.
Yeah. So
that was actually one of my questions and I think a lot of people probably, now that we've shown some examples of what I would call very text light pins versus some that are, way more text heavy. What's the magic solution for that? Which is better? So you just gave a really great explanation of that. Let me dig into that though just a little bit more for those who have blog content that are driving things, trying to drive traffic to their website in some capacity, maybe specifically to a blog post. What would be your recommendation for the amount of text? Should it be minimal? Should it be the blog title? What's your thoughts on that?
I personally like to rewrite copy if I can for Pinterest with that audience specifically in mind. Elisa made an awesome point on Monday, and I was totally like hands in the air about the idea of even when you're testing images, testing them for different audiences, because one post can actually appeal to a variety of audiences. So go back and watch that one on Monday if you haven't seen that, because that's really good. But I think that I think what I like to do is write the copy and then walk away from it and come back and ask myself, can I remove any of this and still get the point across? Sometimes we need to walk away and come back with fresh eyes, but I will keep it. I'm not saying keyword stuffing. I'm not saying just keywords, but an intentional, not a passive approach when writing copy that will deliver.
Right. Julie, I know you had some examples you wanted to kind of wrap us up. We're getting close. I mean, this is blown by. We can talk about this stuff all day, but by the way, I didn't mention this in front of the show. If you know somebody who's like, oh my gosh, they dropped so much design knowledge, during the show, you feel free to mention them down below, call them into the live. They can watch the replay, because I know I'm going to go back and watch all this awesome stuff that they're doing. So also, yeah, go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, invite them to join us to the Palooza. Right. Just go to kimgross.com/Pinterest and join the Palooza. We've got 2 more days of the Palooza. And then next week, we're going to be doing the Pinterest, the pin challenge, the video pin challenge. So 5 days. So, register for the Palooza, then go come join us next week in a private Facebook group where we're going to be really working with you to get you some pins, some video pins designed and ready, so you can go forward and drive some amazing traffic and hopefully sales as well.
Right. So Julie, what's this? I know you have some examples. Go ahead and let's go pull those up on screen. You can walk us through why you like these pins, or what did you want to explain about those? So I'm going to pull those up right like this.
Absolutely. So I know that a lot of times people are wondering, are there certain colors that actually work better on Pinterest? Kind of wanting that kind of like magic solution. This color is the one you should use. And I think even more important than trying to find a magical color, it's really about finding colors that go well together in the pin design to really create something cohesive. So as you're creating a pin image, there's a couple different approaches you could take. Here, instead of using really punchy colors, it's the total opposite direction. You can go fully grayscale, like the one on the left. And something kind of cool there is it's purely black and white. We don't have any saturated colors. And yet that pin image really grabbed my eye because it does look a little bit different than what you typically see on Pinterest. And they've used that really kind of paint blotchy pattern behind the onesie, which really kind of jumps out at your eye, that kind of repeating pattern. The one on the right, I think, is interesting because it's so neutral. Again, we don't have any poppy colors, but because it's so cohesive, it really kind of helps tell their brand story there about their sustainable jewelry. So it makes a lot of sense for those specific pin images. And then I also have, if you do want to use color, there's of course, some different things you can do here. Something fun that I have seen coming up a little bit more on Pinterest is people going with kind of these monochromatic or kind of like single color color schemes in their pin images, because there's so much that we see. It can be a little bit of a visual information overload for our eyes. Exactly. So by having a single color that you're using, whether it's that one on the left where it's really all in the blue families, a little bit of black in there, or the one on the right where it's purely in the yellow family, that's really going to jump out at your eye. And then the last one, using complementary colors. Finding just a couple colors that go nicely together can really help. It tells a visual story. That one in the middle, you automatically know, oh, this is for kids. This is a fun thing, purely based off of the colors, even before you maybe click on it to enlarge to see the actual robots themselves.
Yeah, those are awesome examples. Yeah, so
robot kits, that looks amazing. I want one of those.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, very, very cool. So that's some great example. I mean, color is, you know, I go into the mall and pick what's on the mannequin. I can't go to the mall anymore, so that's why I'm kind of monochrome.
I'm with you, Jeff. I like to be able to visualize things. I got to see it. I struggle to. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So if you don't, we have a winner of the Selfie Life. So I want to pull that up. We have the winner of the Selfie Life is Michelle Davis. Congrats, Michelle, for winning the Selfie Life. They're awesome. They really are. They're really, really cool. So once again, make sure you go to kimgarst.com/Pinterest winner. Enter your deets there, and we will get that off to you. We have one more prize, and we got to hurry because we only got like 5 minutes left. So while we're wrapping things up, I want you guys to answer this question. Let me make sure if it's the right one here. Oh, yeah, here it is. So do you use your Pinterest on your computer or on your phone? We talked about earlier in the show, Tina even brought up this stat of like it's like over 85% or something like that. People come to Pinterest on their mobile. But is that what you use? So let us know. Type in pin it to win it, hashtag pin it to win it, and then your answer to be entered for another $15 Amazon gift card. So make sure you guys do that. Do you use Pinterest on your computer on your phone? Which one do you use the most? So hashtag pin it to win it. Let us know about that. But Julie,
can I ask the last question?
Yeah.
I just got one more, and it's like a biggie. So, so if you have a gosh awful pen, but it's like it's terrible. Like, is it possible to redesign your pen and fix it to, again, instead of deleting it and losing any juice that you might have? What's the best option? Do you just redesign it? Do
you delete it? Do you delete
it?
Julie, what do you say about that?
I would say don't delete it. I mean, that could be driving additional traffic, but also I think it's something kind of fun about those horrible, maybe shameful pins you've created in the past that you're no longer proud of. Find what it is about it that maybe is making you cringe and take that as a challenge. So maybe you're like, oh my gosh, the text, it's terrible. Use that, go, okay, well, if I kept everything the same and I instead went all out on the text and I really focused on making it large and readable, what would that do to the pen? And you can kind of go through that process, kind of picking each aspect and changing it. And that's a great opportunity as well to do a little bit of A/B testing where you can transform maybe a cringeworthy pin into a couple different designs that would be inspiring and maybe drive even more new traffic.
That's awesome. Tina, what say you about that?
Yeah, never delete it. Just have the humble pie if it's driving traffic. I've actually seen people in the past that have deleted them thinking that it's not on brand anymore, and we've seen their traffic completely drop off. I just want to plug something in here quickly. Not that this is a show about analytics, but we track a lot of pins at Simple Pin. And on average, we're seeing it take 3 to 6 months for those fresh pins to take off when you're creating multiple images per post, which is a great idea. But the thing is, if you're taking something that's been ranking for 5 years and expecting the same traffic, that takes time. So if you're deleting something that already has those signals, those SEO signals, and expecting it to just magically fix because you've got something that's pretty now, that's going to take time to rank for too. So just let it live, create better things, and know that eventually the weight will shift and it will equalize itself.
That's awesome.
Great response.
and she just teased a little bit, and she did such a great job of Tina. That's why we have her on the show, because she just gives me these softballs. We're talking about Pinterest SEO tomorrow with the always awesome Jennifer Priest. So that's one. There's a lot of cool stuff, because remember, Pinterest is more of a visual search engine than it is a social network. So SEO is important. So we're talking all with Jennifer Priest, who's amazing at that. So you want to make sure that you go and sign up, get reminders, and if you can't make it so you can watch the replay, make sure you go to kimgarst.com/Pinterest to register for the last final days of Pinterest Palooza, and also register for our grand prize of Tailwind, who sponsored this show of a year of Tailwind, which is amazing in itself. So make sure you guys go and sign up at kimgarst.com/Pinterest.
Yeah, honestly, if you want to get serious about Pinterest, I mean, we've been talking about so many things this week. We specifically structured the week around hot topics. You know, design's a big topic. I've learned some amazing things today. I hope you guys have as well. But SEO is a big piece of Pinterest. So don't miss tomorrow. I think it's going to be an amazing opportunity for all of us to learn more about how we actually leverage the power of Pinterest as a search engine to drive traffic. So we definitely, I'm excited about it. Y'all need to be excited and get there, because tomorrow's going to be a biggie. Not that today was not a biggie too. Every day is biggie around here. But seriously, SEO is a big thing, and just and it's not. It doesn't have to be complicated. That's the thing. It's not Google. This is Pinterest search SEO search optimization. So we can all do it. Is my point.
So before we wrap up, we're going to go a little bit long today, because one, we have to give away the $15 Amazon card, but also I want to make sure that our awesome designers today have a chance to tell you where you can find them at. So Tina, you go first. Where's the best place for people to find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, so obviously I'm at Simple Pin if they're looking for something custom for Pinterest there. And then you can find me on Pinterest and on Instagram under Socially Creative Designs. So you can connect with me there too.
How about you, Julie?
Awesome. So you can, of course, find me at Tailwind. I've been working on our Tailwind Create product coming soon, which is very exciting. So, of course, you can find me there or at LinkedIn.
Yeah, and so the link right below for Tailwind to sign up for this beta. They're letting new batches in all the time. So get on the wait list. Go to kimgarst.com/Tailwind Create for, I mean, seriously, folks, it is one of the coolest things Tailwind's put out in a long time. It's awesome. You can design stuff right inside the tool and schedule it. It's amazing. We'll talk about scheduling probably tomorrow on the SEO with Jennifer Priest. But a lot. And so we don't want to also forget that we have, let's see here. I just hit the wrong button. So so Mel says, I signed up for the challenge, loving those videos. Yeah, videos are popping on Pinterest. So you want to make sure that you go and sign up for this challenge, the Pin It to Profit challenge, because it's going to be a fun, intensive, how to do video pins all next week. So make sure you guys go check that out. So let's get our winner, Kim. I didn't see it come through, but
Hang on. Let's see. I wasn't paying
this is for the $15 card. So let's see. I mean,
I dropped it in. Oh, here it is. I got it.
Okay, cool.
There we go. Brenda Reyes. Woo! Won the Amazon gift card. Congrats. So Brenda, if you will go over to, sorry, Jeff. We're too many people trying to control the buttons around here. Yeah. kimgarst.com/Pinterest winner, and drop in all of your information and we will get it out to you ASAP.
Awesome.
Great.
Thanks so much, folks. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much to Tina and Julie. You guys are awesome. Seriously, guys, go check out their stuff. Ask them some questions in the comments if you have them. But they're amazing designers. I learned so much from them each time. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Definitely. You guys take care of yourselves. Stay safe, and God bless.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.